Welcome to Horror Boys. It's a podcast on the internet. I'm Austin, joined as always by
Chris.
And we are the Horror Boys. And this isn't any old podcast on this old internet. No, my friends. This is a horror movie review podcast where every week we review a horror movie.
That's right.
So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
I know, crazy. We're going to do the thing I said we're going to do. I know. Crazy.
Oh, who'd have thought that we would do the thing that we said we were going to do? Not me.
Well, today we are finishing up the Re-Animator franchise with Beyond Re-Animator. Excuse me.
Yeah. The final installment.
Yep.
And one that I don't know. I don't know if surprised is the right word, but...
Okay. We'll see what that means.
We'll go over that later.
We'll see what that means later. Stay tuned. I also have thoughts on this movie that I will definitely spoil probably within the next 5 minutes, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how far I get in before I maybe spoil my opinions on the movie.
Our directors for this movie are the returning Brian Usna, and he's not returning, but I guess with the way I worded that it might sound like he is, but Rob Cohen. Our writers are Jose Manuel Gomez and Miguel Tejada Flores of Revenge of the Nerds, Screamers, Lion King, and Fright Night Part 2, alongside Horror Bois alums, cinematographer Mark Irwin of the first 30 days of shooting of Scream, makeup effects artist Greg Canham of Idle Hands and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, makeup effect artist Bart Mixon of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I don't know what studio, I don't know what this is supposed to be. I don't think that word's supposed to be there. It's Nightmare on Elm Streets 2, 4, and the 2010 remake.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace of Halloween. Our composer is Xavier Capellas of Faust. Our director of photography is Andrew Rebus.
Sure.
Chris isn't correcting me, so that means I didn't completely butcher it, at least in his mind. Do you know how to pronounce the C with the little tail like that? Because I don't.
No.
No, we'll just go with Lawrence, because that's what it kind of looks like. Actually, it'd be Yorance, because there's double L.
My guess would be Yorenk.
Miguel of Darkness, alongside Horror Bois alum, Anna Paquin of Scriform. Then we have we're changing it up this way because that's the way that the movie credits them, but we actually have three different special effects groups to talk about here. We have our special makeup effects for Laura, the Warden, and Moses is the returning Screaming Mad George. Then we have our special effects for Ratty and Cabrera, which is done by RHK Efectos Especiales, whose supervisor is Amado Rehak. Our atmospheric effects and special effects for Speedball. Sorry, our atmospheric effects and special effects for Speedball are done by EFEX. And I lied, there's actually 4 different ones. So we have, then our fourth one is the special makeup effects for the prologue zombie is Pedro Raul de Diego of Terminator Dark Fate and the Brian Usna directed Beneath Still Waters.
Oh.
And lastly, we have our digital visual effects, Filmtel not San Antonio, my brain assumed, no, it's SA. It doesn't say San Antonio. My brain just like, oh yeah, San Antonio, yep. No, I doubt it is. Because, this movie was shot in Spain, thanks to a deal Brian Usna made with a Spanish production company that gave him his own label known as Fantastic Factory.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he made like 6 films for, I don't remember the name of the small Spanish production studio he was under. But speaking of production studios, screw the AMPTP. Please meet with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. You need them.
Yeah,
and we stand in solidarity with them. Now, it's time for the thing that I'm not going to say, Chris. I'm not going to do it. I just won't.
Yeah.
So,
would you?
Chris, take it away.
For Horror Bois Theater,
our breakdown is going to be me. I'm going to be playing Howie, Howard, Warden, Cabrera, Speedball, Winnie, and Nurse Vanessa. Chris is going to be playing...
And I'll be playing West, Laura, Emily, other kid, Sergeant Mancho, and Moses.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to let people know that this time around, I did think about one voice I'm going to be doing, so I'm ready for one of these characters. The rest, we'll see what I do on the fly.
Yeah, fair.
We open with a kid named Howie and a friend, or as I believe he will be referred to as Other Kid.
Yes, Other Kid.
And they're camping out in Howie's backyard. Howie is played by Tommy Dean Mussett, and the other kid is played by, I have no idea, I couldn't find anything online about him. I tried, I looked, I did research, there's nothing. He's not credited in the credits, there's no information about him online. I don't know who this random kid is. He's in this movie, though. And
now, should we read the lines like the kids say them in the movie?
I think we should try to do a little bit better of a job than them.
Okay.
Yeah, these kids are pretty terrible.
It's pretty awful.
Like, no, hey, they're kids. It happens.
Yeah.
They're kids that honestly probably didn't even speak English well, and were just given English stuff because, like, this movie was shot in Spain. Like, they probably didn't know what lines they were really even saying. Like, they might have known a little bit of English, but they were probably reading some of it phonetically. And, yeah, they did not capture the emotion sometimes that they probably should have. But, yeah. So Howie asks, "You're not scared, are you?"
Scared? Why should I be scared?
"Because we're next to a cemetery." "The thunder rumbles outside." Another kid asks.
So?
"And because if anything were to happen, no one would ever hear a thing."
What could possibly happen?
"Remember the guy they caught last year? The one who was killing kids?"
Yeah? And what?
"And you want to know the worst part?" He lifts a jar with something floating in brown liquid. The other kid asks.
What's that? Chocolate milk?
"He ate them! He cut off parts! And he carried them around in a cooler!"
Picking that up.
"Am not! My sister knows this guy who works at the paper. He told her." When the cops... Sorry, I'm still my line. My bad. Yeah. I don't speak English very well. "When the cops caught him, you know what the cooler was full of?"
Their fingers?
Howie pulls out an eyeball from a jar, and the other kid says,
"Oh, gross."
"It's just a sheep's eye from the butcher shop. When you die, the last thing you see stays on the back of your retina, kind of like a photograph. I brought this up for no reason. We will not talk about..."
Yeah, you think this would be relevant during the rest of the film?
Did you think that's what we were doing with the story this time? Something about that theory? No! Why would we? Nope. That's just a line. Say your line, other kid.
My grandma said the soul lives in the eyes.
Well, the soul is an invention of primitive witch doctors.
That's a weird thing for a kid to say, but alright.
Well, you see, in the movie at this point, you can't quite tell the time frame. I think you're supposed to think that I'm a young Herbert West. They hear branches snap and a loud thunder roll. The other kid says,
"Hey, there's someone out there."
We cut to a POV shot, walking up to the house, where we see Howie's sister, Emily, inside, through the window. Emily is played by Barbara Elorita, of the Brian Usna directed Rottweiler. Excuse me. Back to the boys getting out of the tent. Howie says, "There's no one here."
There was. I heard him.
Back to the outside POV shot of Emily, who is pouring herself a glass of milk.
Ah!
She hears a twig snap and says,
Howie? Howie? Is that you? Howie, no more games. You hear me?
after she walks away, the POV shot pans over to the milk.
Ah! Milk!
It really does, like, specifically, like, pan to the milk. The milk brand milk, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I understand, but, like, it's so funny to, like, draw attention to your, you know, non-brand TV milk. But whatever. Inside, upstairs, Emily hears a door open. She calls out,
Howie?
back to the boys, who sneak up to the back door and see it open. Howie says, "You forgot to close it."
No, I didn't. You were the last one.
Shush! They go
Okay.
inside, not noticing the footprints that lead to the door. We cut back to Emily, who slowly walks back to the kitchen and is startled by Howie when she gets there. She's startled. Crazy. So scary. And Emily asks,
What are you guys doing sneaking around like that?
"Well, we weren't sneaking."
Yes, you were. Get down.
And she shoves his head between her legs. And I'm gonna say like she's setting up to hit a pile driver, because if not, it's just kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's just a little bigger.
Yeah, she's gonna do a wrestling move. That makes it less creepy.
Like a pair of rats, huh?
They're all giggling as a reanimated corpse whose lower jaw is gone walks in the kitchen. Kitchen Zombie, as he is credited, is played by stuntman Angel. I give me a chance.
No. You're taking a second to get there.
Because I was trying to like make sure that like the accent mark didn't change how I pronounced Angel.
Well,
Emily screams. The reanimated shoves other kid to the ground, and he runs away yelling for help. So yell for help, I guess. Okay, just say help. Just say help, because it's not picking up. Oh, it still barely picked up, but we'll go with it.
okay.
Where did we
Yeah, it's
leave?
hard to scream on Discord. It doesn't want to pick up.
That's why I told you to just say it the last time, and you still tried to scream it.
Oh.
Perfect voice. That is what the kid sounds like when he's scared. The reanimated head. I get it. My brain was like, the reanimated heads. What? No, the reanimated heads towards Emily. Emily, who yells.
Get back, you freak. Get back.
She grabs a knife and stabs the reanimated in the chest. He does not react, and proceeds to choke her and smash her head into the wall, killing her. Howie just
Yay, no more female voice for, like, a few more minutes.
Yeah. Howie just... Hey, I didn't give you all the females this time. I took one. Howie just shits and... Sits!
I mean, probably.
I mean, maybe. But
He's
we wouldn't
scared.
say that. I didn't say that. That was a misspeak. We're a PG podcast. I'm not editing out, though, because it's funny. But he sits in shock. Where was I?
It would have been fitting the other way around, too.
Yeah.
But that isn't what happened in the movie. At least
where
not that we
poops in
know.
his socks? Oh, we're only switching the... Oh, sorry, I thought we were switching
No,
both
he
of the
poops
sounds.
poops in shock.
No, he poops, but you you take the SH from that, put it with sit, and then you put the regular S in front of it, so it's poop in socks.
Oh.
He poops in his socks. That happens, guys. Where was my line? Okay, he's sitting in shock, crying and yelling, "No, Emily!" She falls down in front of him, dying, right in front of him. I could put both.
Dying.
Dying in
And
front
then
of
she
him.
dies in front
Right
of him.
in front of him.
Right in front of him as she dies.
Oops, I added two in front of him there. My bad, everyone. The reanimated tries to drink some milk. Because
As
remember,
you
he
do.
looked at the milk earlier.
Yeah,
Then a
that's all he
cop.
wanted, really.
Yeah, then a cop comes in and shoots the reanimated, re-killing him, including a really cool shot that blows out the back of the reanimated's head. I presume this is Cop 1, who is played by Javier Sandoval. If it's not, I'm sorry, Javier, and you're still in this movie as a cop at some point. Maybe you're one of the guards. Maybe you're a SWAT officer. I don't know what this movie's doing. Because also
probably Cop 1 because he's the first cop that shows up.
That would make sense. And also, spoiler, there are like 12 different, guards at the wherever we're going. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But there's only 2 people credited. No, 3. 3 people of like the 12 ones we see. So, and actually one of them's not even credited. They're uncredited, but they have a IMDb thing saying they did it. But yeah.
I also decided what voice I'm going to use for Sergeant Macho.
Oh, okay. I will say that like this, you don't have to, but I'm just also gonna say, I'd say let's try to stay away from like overly Spanish accents because we're not gonna do it well and we're just gonna butcher it. So let's just pretend like this movie isn't filmed in Spain and every character but Herbert West is very Spanish.
Yeah. Except for
Oh, you have to do it for Laura.
For the warden.
Oh.
And Laura.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it for the warden.
The warden is very Spanish.
Yeah, I just don't know what I'm gonna do for my voice there because I just don't know if I want to try to do Spanish voice. But we'll get to that when we get to that, when I decide on the moment. Because that's not the one character I pre-planned my voice for.
Yeah.
Ooh, spoiler! Who is it?
Luckily, the last female I had to play was also just a Spanish woman.
No, she was Italian.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But you're just gonna do the same voice, and that's okay.
Yeah, you understand.
That is your foreign woman voice.
No, I could do a European one that's not Spanish sounding.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's up to you, man. Where did we leave off? So he shot.
Rekilling.
Get
a cool shot of
I presume
reflection.
Cop 1. Howie then flips over his dead sister, who blinks as he flips her. Just gonna point out that little continuity. She's dead, but she full on blinks.
Mm-hmm.
She is reacting to him touching her. And then we get a cool shot of his reflection on her eye as he cries over her body. That sounds really evil when I say it like that, but it's a pretty shot, like in the eye, but like I'm not that bad of a person, guys.
No, Austin's evil, don't listen.
We transition to him standing outside his house as the cops are arresting Herbert West. West is played by the returning Jeffrey Combs. Yay!
Yippee!
Yeah. West looks out the cop car and sees a syringe of his reagent on the ground. Howie sees it and picks it up, and we get the fade everything but the syringe to black. And that's the end of the movie, guys. Thank you for tuning in. It's a short film called Beyond Re-Animator where West just gets locked up after some kids do some terrible acting.
Yeah. Very experimental.
No, I'm
film.
joking. That's not true. But after he does the little like cool, everything fades to black but the neon, we get our title card and then our credits. We are now looking at a rat, 13 years after the intro that was set on the same night as Bride of Re-Animator's ending, according to Brian Hughes now. So that's where, because it makes sense. They had to like jump the story because, no offense to my boy Jeffrey Combs, he still looked amazing, but he did not look like he did 13 years prior to this movie. So they kind of had to, age him up. But they also had to explain why he didn't insanely progress what he's been working on to, like, an insane level. So they had to put him in prison to try to, stop him a little bit. But yeah, we follow as the rat as it scurries in a wall. It stops at a piece of cheese and gets its back legs caught in a snare trap set by West. West pulls the rat into his cell at the Arkham State Penitentiary. Because this movie is still set in Massachusetts, guys. I don't know why you can't tell with every character and their deep Spanish accents.
What
Also,
do you mean?
I could be wrong. Like, I tried to look for stuff, and I couldn't find an example one way really or the other. But I don't think you would ever have a Arkham State Penitentiary, because Arkham is the... I don't think you ever have City State Penitentiary. I think it's normally State Penitentiary. Like,
yeah,
Massachusetts. Yeah, it'd be the Massachusetts State Penitentiary, not the Arkham State Penitentiary. But, whatever.
Yeah.
West straps the rat down in a hollowed-out book. He electrocutes the rat, killing it, capturing its NPE, nanoplasmic energy in a glass container that looks kind of like a fuse. So that's what I'm referring to it as later. And we'll also get a more explanation of what NP is later. Don't worry. I'm not going to try to remember what it was here. I'll let West explain it when he explains it.
Don't worry.
But the alarm goes off, so he has to hide his work before Sergeant Macho comes over to check on him. Sergeant Macho is played by Lolo Herrero of Rottweiler and 11-11-11 alongside Horror Boy alum Michael Landis of the Wait, that's the wrong. It's Final Destination. I wrote TF, but it's Final Destination 2. And just to be clear, that is 11-11-11, not to be confused with 11/11/11, which has 2 sequels, 12/12/12, and the completely impossible 13/13/13.
Because there is no 13th month, guys.
No,
in case
there
you
is
did
not.
not realize that.
But they wanted to make a third film, and from my understanding, all of those films are awful. I don't know anything about 11-11-11, but due to the fact that it had a mockbuster, it was probably at least better.
Probably.
All right, and Macho walks up just as West finishes packing up the wires he pulled from the light bulb. Macho says,
West, what do you have there?
like
That's
it.
some kind of animal.
Now reply to
West
yourself.
replies. Why, Mancho? Are you hungry? Mancho asks. Is that a rat? West retorts.
These voices are different enough. I don't think you have to say the name of the character every time, Chris. You can just...
Your powers of observation are dubious at best. Dubious? You wanted me? Yeah. Yes, here.
And he hands him a paper. West looks at it and says...
New work assignment?
Macho says.
Dubious. Oh, and it's Sergeant Macho.
The camera backs away in a pretty fun shot, honestly, and then goes through the vent that leads into the wall, and then we head into a different cell where Cabrera is calling out, "Ready! Ready!" Cabrera is played by Enrique Arce, but that's spelled A-R-C-E.
Or Arte?
This is not. It might be Arce, but I'm gonna call it. I like Arce better because that's a British curse word.
That's butt.
Yeah, I mean butt in British.
British one.
In British. Yeah, and he Enrique is from the movie. Also acted in the movie A Long Way Down, alongside Horror Boy alum Toni Collette of Hereditary. Cabrera grabs the foot of his cellmate Moses. Cabrera asks, "What did you do to Reddy, Pendant, estupido?"
Oh yeah, I'm Moses. Oh god.
Moses replies in a whimper. Yeah, I don't know where you're going with this one. I did not want to have to try to figure out this voice.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna go with this one either.
He kind of has vampire qualities, going like a Nosferatu knockoff.
I don't even know what a
Yeah, I don't
Nosferatu
either.
knockoff would sound like either.
I don't either, but it sounded like a smart thing to say there. Just choose a voice.
Mother of God, I ain't seen him, I swear. I'm a sick man. Leave me alone.
Mancho walks up to the cell door. Cabrera asks, "Where's Reddy?"
What's wrong, Cabrera? Lose your stinky little pal?
Cabrera puts Moses' foot down. Mancho continues.
You should ask Wusk if he's seen him. Wusk likes animals.
"What do you mean?"
Think about it. Dubious.
I love Macho.
Yeah.
Moses is played by Nico Bay?
Bisas?
Perfect. Of Rec 2 is what I'll call it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Even though technically I believe it is technically Record 2, but no one calls it that. Mancho flips the switch to open the cells. We see a shot of Dr. Howard Phillips showing up to the prison. Howard Phillips is played by Jason Barry of Titanic, alongside Horror Bois alums Greg Canham, Paul Brightwell of The Voices, and the late David Warner of Scream 2. Fun fact, known racist piece of trash and creator of the character Herbert West, H.P. Lovecraft's name was Howard Philip Lovecraft. That's where he gets his name. Cabrera catches up with West and asks, "Hey West, you seen my ratty?
Is he missing?
You see him? You better obsidian tell me, Einstein."
Does he have any identifiable characteristics? Special markings?
"The fool who took him is gonna get some special markings upside the head." Howard walks into the prison after looking at West from afar. Mancho asks him,
Are you the new doctor?
Well, I mean, let's be real. He's just Dan with a different name, so he should have the exact same voice. "That's right. Is that the way to the clinic?" Like, I really don't... Like, I wasn't going to do that voice, but then I thought about it. He is just Dan, so I should just do the Dan voice. As a joke about how he is just filling in for Dan.
He is new Dan.
He also looks insanely like Topher Grace.
I was going to say the guy from Malcolm in the Middle.
I could see that, too. They all kind of have that same white guy look.
Yeah.
But, like... I kind of, once I saw him as knockoff Topher Grace, I couldn't not see it. And then also, like, he even delivers some of his lines the same way Topher Grace does. And, you know, we watched a Topher Grace movie not that long ago with Delirium.
That's right.
And, like, some of the ways when he gets angry and yells, it, like, reminded me, like, oh, that's, like, the same cadence, even. But, yeah. Where was I?
Mancho replies.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
A warden wants to see you first.
They head to a different area of the prison, and Howard says, "In movies, they call this the death house, but you guys wouldn't call it that. What do you call it?"
The death house.
They continue walking, and Howard asks, "All these prisoners here are
condemned to death. Don't talk until he talks to you first."
Howard heads into the execution room where the warden and Laura are mid-conversation. Warden Brando is played by Simon Andrew of Die Another Day. Laura is played by Elsa Pataki of Fast 5 through Fate of the Furious. And Snakes on a Plane alongside Horror Bois alums Lynn Shay of Nightmare on Elm Street and New Nightmare, David Koechner of Final Destination 5, Crystal Lowe of Final Destination 3, production designer James Hinkle of The Final Destination, and director the late David R. Ellis of Final Destination 2 and The Final Destination. She's also the wife of Chris Hemsworth. That's just a random little fun fact about her.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's married to Chris Hemsworth. They have 3 children.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And since like
would not
2010.
have ever guessed that.
Apparently they met in 2010 and married in 2010. And are still married 13 years later. So, good for them. Laura says,
"So, you don't believe in rehabilitation?"
The warden says, "Now I'm in your spot. I gotta figure out what the warden's voice is."
Yeah, good luck with that.
Pre-think I'm not doing Spanish, because I feel like that'll just come across as offensive, even if it's not meant to be.
And I already forgot Moses' voice, so...
Yeah, I don't remember what you did either already. Maybe I'll just do, like, generic evil. I guess. That just doesn't feel right. I don't know what. I don't know. "Don't be naive, Laura." That's terrible. Nope, not that one.
Go deep.
"Don't be nope, too deep.
That's way too deep.
Went too deep, guys. Went too deep. "Don't be naive, Laura. I believe I'm what works." I believe it's in what works. It would have worked with the line that fits like his character, but the actual line is in what works. I believe in what works. 2,000 bolts of raw power from the standalone generator. This works. When a man sits in it, I make every new prisoner sit in it. They submit to my power. Laura seems uncomfortable, but turns on a smile and says,
Fascinating.
Oh, you're just saying that. Howard clears his throat. Dr. Phillips? Yes, sir. Howard Phillips. It's a pleasure to meet you. Warden Brando? They shake hands, and the warden doesn't let go, and says, Doctor, you graduated in the top 5% of your class. You could have had your pick of the jobs. What are you doing here? Well, I'm institutionalized. I'm interested in institutional medicine. Really? Well, yeah. This handshake is finally broken when, for some reason, a super smitten Laura comes over to shake Howard's hand. She says,
Hi, I'm Laura Olney. I'm with the Arkham Record. Anything you see?
Say.
Yes.
Sorry.
Anything you say to me can and will be misquoted or taken out of context.
Well, in that case, let me just say hi. Laura, with such a desperate tone, says,
Hi.
Like, seriously, why is she immediately falling over head over heels for knockoff Topher Grace? Like, him falling for her back makes sense. She's beautiful. She's with Chris Hemsworth. There's a reason, okay? Like, she's a very attractive lady. I get it. But she's in love with this random Joe. Why? He's done nothing. He hasn't showed her, like, his charm or anything yet. He's just generic white guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, he was in love with her already and, like, it took them going on a date for her to fall for him. Like, oh, it's his charm, I guess. But no, it's immediately she just wants him. Random knockoff Topher Grace. Dollar store Topher Grace.
Dollar store Topher Grace. God.
No offense to the guy. He actually does a decent job as the character. But the warden interrupts their meet cute, tapping his cane on Howard's bag and says, We have a fully equipped medical facility here. Yeah, I'm sure you do, sir, but these are mine.
And Laura asks,
Do all doctors have such a personal relationship with their tools?
Excuse me.
True.
Says the doctor. No.
God.
Yeah, sorry. The doctor says, not the doctor, the warden says, Doctor, you made a request to have a particular inmate working with you in the infirmary. I believe we're understaffed, and he does have a medical background. Keep an eye on him. Sir? He thinks he's smarter than everyone else, but he's not. It's an attitude which can infect others. Infect? We cut to a shot of the yard, where we see Moses having a heart attack, but we hear the warden say, An idea can be like a disease. If you're treating a patient and you discover a minor anomaly, do you ignore it? Outside, we hear a speedball run up and say with a smile, No, that's the same voice, dang it. Maybe he's just a redneck. Yeah, maybe he's a redneck. Yep, he's definitely a redneck. Oh, obscenity, man! Speedball is played by Santiago Segura of Blade 2 and Hellboys 1 and 2, alongside Horror Boy alum Doug Jones of Jack Frost 2. The warden voiceover continues. No, doctor. No, you cut it out. Some growths are benign. Not inside these walls. Macho comes in and says,
Sir, excuse me, but there's a situation.
We cut to them arriving at the yard. Winnie is next to Moses on the ground and checking on him. Winnie is played by Daniel Ortiz. Mancho says,
Out of the way. It's the doctor.
Howard goes down to check on Moses. Moses says,
You know what? He's just going to be the count.
okay.
Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. Hear my confession.
Just calm down.
The blood, the flesh, the beating heart. I had to eat it. Don't send me to hell.
Moses starts to choke and Howard yells, "Oh, get the drop cloth!" Speedball grabs Howard's medical bag. Howard tells Mancho, keep his back perfectly straight. Speedball accidentally, super lightly bumps into Laura as he's trying to back away with the bag. This somehow injures Laura's ankle.
Oh.
Howard and Mancho carry off Moses to the infirmary. A different guard sees Speedball with Howard's bag and takes it from him. I'm not sure if this prison guard is played by the uncredited Lewis Williams, or possibly he could be someone completely different who's also uncredited. There's another guard that There's also another guard that helps carry Moses, who I'm pretty sure is Officer Falcon, played by Joaquin Ortega. The warden tries to check Laura's ankle and asks, "Are you okay?" Laura, not wanting to be touched by this creep, says,
Fine, thanks. I'm fine.
when the guard... I also just want to pause and say that I already do regret the warden voice. It doesn't fit, but I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to do that this time, guys. I just want you to know that I don't like it. I'm not proud of it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wish the only character I played in this movie was Cabrera, because that's a fun voice. That's definitely original, and no one's ever done it before.
Yeah, definitely not.
Definitely not a reference to anything.
No.
So, where were we?
I'm fine.
When the guards and Howard arrive at the
Nurse
infirmary,
Vanessa.
Nurse Vanessa asked, "What happened?" I guess she's Southern too. I didn't mean to that happen, but it just kind of happened, so that's her voice. Howard replies, "Heart attack." Nurse Vanessa is played by Raquel Gribbler. Nurse Vanessa says, "Are you the new doctor? Cute."
Apparently every woman loves
they
this
wanted
guy.
to cast someone different. Howard says, "Get him on the table. Carefully. Nurse, set up the IV. Hurry up." "Yes, doctor." "Get me some Amiadarani." It's okay, because I shouldn't be able to pronounce things. I'm stupid. Nurse Vanessa says, "What?" Alderon. Alderon. "We don't have any, Amio..." Howard yells, "What do you mean you don't have any?" "It didn't come in." "Well, what do you have? What have you got? Come on, nurse!" Wes says,
Try Solitol. It has a similar effect.
"Go get it!" Nurse Vanessa goes to get some. When she comes back, she can't get the needle in the IV, so Howard calls out, "Doctor, would you help her, please?" West's eyes light up at being called doctor, and he walks over to take over for Nurse Vanessa. Howard says, "Nurse, take these guys out of the way. Come on, nurse, get these guys outside. Come on, out. Everybody out. Come on, out. Out. And stay out there with them." She tries to protest, but Howard insists. Howard uses the defibrillator on Moses. West says,
You're wasting your time.
Howard defibs Moses 2 more times, getting frustrated.
He was dead before you brought him in here.
Gosh dang it! He was my patient!
For 5 minutes. So, you're the new doctor.
He takes out the work paper and asks,
What is the meaning of this?
Dr. Herbert West, I know all about you.
Oh, really?
I know what you did. They tried to cover it all up. Your experiments?
Don't believe everything you hear.
I didn't hear it, Doctor. I saw. That night they arrested you? I was the kid. He puts up his finger to tell West to wait and goes to his medical bag. He pulls out a syringe from the opening in a really cool split diopter shot where the syringe is in focus on the foreground and on the other side, on one side, and on the other side we have West who's in focus further back.
No.
Howard says, I want to work with you. West walks over and takes the syringe. He looks it over and says,
13 years. There's bound to be some deterioration. The reactive base may have destabilized. But maybe not.
He looks over at Moses. What are you doing?
Seeing if it still works.
No! Someone could come in!
We're just treating a patient.
The top of the spinal cord?
Of course. Hold his head. Hold it, quickly.
He injects Moses in the back of the neck. How long will it take?
I don't think it's going to take at all.
We could increase the dosage.
No. Not going to work on him. Might work on something else. But thank you for bringing me back my reagent, such as it is. Oh well.
West walks away from the table. Howard follows him, saying, Hey, wait a minute. Listen. Think about it. Come on. We can make some more. The audience sees that Moses' mouth is starting to foam. West laughs at Howard and asks,
In here, this place doesn't even have basic first aid, as you just found out.
Moses sits up behind them. Howard says, But this is my clinic now. What do you need? Moses starts to scream, so they turn to him. West says,
It works.
Howard goes up to Moses and asks, How do you feel? Can you hear me?
West yells, Stay away from him.
Can you hear me? Can you... No! Moses starts to choke Howard. West runs in and hits Moses with a trash can on the head. It works to get Moses to release Howard, and he falls off the table to the floor. West says,
We have to sedate him.
West topples medical equipment in front of him to slow down Moses as Howard goes to get a sedative. West yells out,
Get the Thorazine. 50 cc's. Hurry.
In comes Nurse Vanessa, Mancho, and possibly Officer Falcon. Mancho and the guard try to grab Moses. Moses throws down Mancho and takes a big bite out of the guard's arm, causing it to spray out with a lot of blood. Moses falls to the ground. Nurse Vanessa backs away out the door as Moses crawls towards her. The warden and Laura are right outside the door, outside the now open door. Moses cowers in fear, and the warden says, cowers in front of the warden. Yeah. And Moses says,
yeah. Forgive me, please. Forgive me. Forgive me, please. I have...
Moses spits out a piece of the guard's arm and finishes,
sinned.
Dr. Phillips. But he's cut off by Moses getting him in the testicular claw. The warden pushes him off. Mancho is able to grab hold of him. The warden asks, What the obscenity is going on here?
And Mancho replies, He went crazy, sir.
Yeah, he was suffering from a severe cardiac arrhythmia. That's a hard word to say, so I'll just skip the line. He had a reaction to the medication. Howard goes to grab the syringe and drops it on the ground, breaking it. The warden says, "What medication?" Howard replies, "We administered 10 cc's of sotalol. It provoked an unexpected side effect." "Is this what you call an unexpected side effect?" "Well, I tried."
The patient suffered atrial fibrillation. In simple English, his heart was beating too fast. The side effect was regrettable, but not unusual.
Howard helps Laura with her weirdly injured ankle. The warden says, "Ah, you, West. You just added, I think it was 12, but I wrote 13. 12 months to your sentence." Howard says, "It's a little swollen." The warden says, "Dr. Phillips, one of my men is hurt." "I'll take care of it. Now I'm a New Yorker. I don't know what happened. I changed. I had a cough earlier. This is my voice now. I'll take care of him, sir." No, that's not her voice. I'm sorry. Well, wait, how do I do? Why am I forgetting how to do a southern woman voice now? "I'll take care of him, sir." That didn't sound right either. Why am I forgetting voices mid-voice?
Yeah, that happens.
All right, now I'm from New York. "I'll take care of him, sir." I was always from New York. Just go back and listen. I was always doing this voice. Yes, I was. "It's time for you to say your line, Mr. Warden. Find it on the page."
You are the warden.
I know, I had to find it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to find the line. That's why she said, "Find it on the page." "Sergeant,
Sergeant.
there will be an immediate lockdown."
Yes, sir.
Nurse Vanessa treats the guard's wound. The warden says, "Miss Olney, the rest of your visit will be conducted outside of the security areas of this institution."
But warden,
"West, the lockdown includes you."
Dr. Phillips asked me to make a list of the supplies we need.
"Oh, that's right. I do need that list." The warden says to Macho about Moses, "Clean that man up and get him to the hole."
Come on, get up.
He picks up Moses and starts to walk out before saying,
West, get to your cell.
he leaves with Moses. Wes motions for Howard to follow him to the door of the infirmary and says,
My last partner turned state's evidence against me. I'm expecting better things of you.
he hands Howard the list of supplies and adds,
And watch out for her. She's trouble.
Wes leaves to go to his cell. We get some shots of the prisoners being routed up. We see Howard leaving the prison for the day. He sees Laura in the parking lot and says, "Hi there."
oh hi, just organizing my notes. You're right about my ankle, by the way. I should have stayed off it.
"Kind of hard to push in the clutch, huh? How about I drive you home?"
Are you sure?
He gets in the driver's seat of her car, and they start to drive off. Laura says,
I'm putting you through a lot of trouble.
"On a day like this, nothing is trouble." The audience sees that the warden is watching them angrily as they drive off. We cut to the warden entering the hole / solidarity. Nope, not solidarity. Solitary. He enters the hole and solidarity with his fellow wardens.
Yeah.
He says to Moses, "Had yourself a big day, Moses. Beat the hell out of 4 grown men while you were having a heart attack. How do you do..." I'm doing Cabrera's voice. I gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Nope. Can't have too much rasp. Where did he go? Where was the beginning of the line? I would normally cut this, I say, as a joke.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? They gave you some kind of medication, didn't they? What was it? The warden raises Moses' head with his cane. Moses says,
I know why I'm here.
Yes?
I'm dead. And this is hell.
And he snarls and leans forward, trying to bite the warden. The warden says, dang, I hate myself. I did too similar of a voice. I'll show you what hell is. And he starts beating Moses with his cane. We cut to Cabrera's cell. He yells, West! West, you and me have got to talk, man! West! West doesn't respond and wraps the dead body of Ratty in foil. We cut to Laura's house, where she tells Howard,
I'm so sorry about the tofu.
Hey, I should have smelled it. The pizza is great. I've had a great time.
Great.
I was really impressed by your attractiveness. I mean, you're good at, where was my line? I lost it. That way you handled the interview today.
Yeah, I did such a great job that the interviewee threw me out. But progressive educational programs out of the state penitentiary is such a stupid story.
Oh, come on. Don't give up. Anything's possible. You just have to see the possibilities and seize the moment, you know? Trust your instincts and go for it.
Just go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go for it. So what are you really doing here?
Howard replies, Institutional medicine. Laura chuckles. Before she pretends having a microphone and says,
Tell me about your secret institutional medicine research, doctor.
Yes, why of course. I'm investigating the scientific effects of institutionalization of the very nature of life and death.
Yeah? Come on. Why are you doing a residency in the joint? Really? Why, Howard?
I saw my sister die when I was a kid.
I'm so sorry.
I never want to feel that helpless again. I tried to resuscitate her. I wanted to bring her back to life.
Who is the guy helping you today?
Dr. Herbert West. He's a prisoner now, but he used to work at the Miskatonic University Hospital. He did research based on the theory that death is a disease. One of his reanimation experiments went out of control. Crazy. Violent.
Like the old man today?
An escape from the Miskatonic morgue.
The morgue?
Yeah, that's what we're going to say, even though that doesn't make sense with the fact that this is supposed to take place after the one that would have been at his house, not the morgue. But yeah, that's what I'm going to say. The guy broke into our house and... He looks at Laura's face and puts his hand up to her cheek and continues. That expression reminds me of Emily?
Your sister? Your dead sister? Who is dead?
Yeah,
And
that
not
gets
alive?
me kind of hot and bothered, if you know what I'm saying.
That's really strange to say.
Yeah, that's fair. Where was my actual line, though? Oh, I'm gonna stand up now.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand up
No,
and you
I
say something.
You're going?
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Howard starts to walk over to the door, and she follows him, with them both continuing to stare at each other. Howard says, Looks like your ankle's better.
Oh, yeah.
She takes a step towards him, and trips into his arms.
Ah.
Howard asks, Seize the moment?
Go for it.
They kiss, and we fade to black as he says, This reminds me of my sister. Wait, no.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
No, I added that part. That part's not there, but it should have been because of that other line. Like, what the heck? And back out to an establishing shot outside the prison. We get a quick shot of Moses bloody and screaming in the hole. Howard. Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Yes. Howard enters the infirmary, and West, going through a box, says,
Looks like you got everything.
Moses isn't doing so good.
We need a lab space. Somewhere private.
They head through the back door to look for somewhere private. He doesn't seem human anymore. West finds an old storage room and says,
Yes, I think this will do.
He's a monster.
He was as fresh a specimen as we could hope to find. It's always been a problem.
Gosh dang right it's a problem. I want to help people, not create mindless freaks.
Having second thoughts, Doctor? All medical research requires risk. And if you don't understand that, perhaps you shouldn't be here. I'm on the verge of finding a unifying force that will bring order to the chaotic organism. Or...
What?
Yeah.
Caroline, are you telling me you found a way to restore rational behavior to...
What I'm saying is that I can now accelerate the testing phase of my current work. With your help, of course, Doctor. Oh, with your help, of course. Doctor, this work requires commitment and complete confidentiality. You must tell no one.
You think I'm just going to walk...
You have lipstick on your collar, Doctor.
We cut to the nurse checking in 2 patients in the lobby of the clinic. We get a little transition montage showing shots of West and Howard in the lab, Howard seeing patients, the warden being angry, and Laura doing research. The montage ends with West finishing a batch of reagent. Then we fade in to Laura and Howard finishing up some harmonica playing. All right.
Gross.
Post music, Laura says,
I was afraid you weren't going to come by.
I was working late.
On what?
Nothing. Just clinic stuff, you know? Ugh, come on! What are you doing, investigating me?
No.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how the old man was doing.
He's fine.
Really?
He doesn't seem human anymore. We shouldn't have...
You shouldn't have... What?
He looks at her, and she gives him a kiss. Oh, ain't he nice? Howard asks...
Gross.
What's the matter?
It's the story I'm working on. I figured out some stuff, but it's really just speculation.
You need hard facts.
Yeah, but to get them, I'll have to take some risks. So what do I do? Play it safe, or go for it?
No question. Stop now. It'll save your life.
I don't think that's what you say.
But I'm saying it now because I want to save your life.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I actually am going to say... You've got to go for it.
You mean that?
No, I don't. Please don't do it. I don't want you to die. I guess I'll read the line. You gotta take some chances.
That's what you're doing, isn't it?
So, tell me, what's your new story about?
I can't tell you yet.
We, the audience, find out it's on Herbert West when we pan over to her, see her research. We cut to Howard examining Speedball's throat. Speedball says, "It hurts so much I can't even spit." I really don't see anything wrong. Come on, once they gave me little red pills, Vicodin. Made me feel better right away. Little red pills? Come on, little red... He gets distracted by Nurse Vanessa's chest. West is walking in the hallway, and he's stopped by Cabrera and Speedball. Cabrera says, "Today's the day, Niño sin padre?" Speedball says,
Yeah.
"Today's the day."
Then I'll see you in the yard.
"You're a dead man." "A dead man." West walks away and tells Howard.
Today's the day. It worked.
Howard turns to tell Nurse Vanessa, "Reschedule the afternoon patients, nurse." "But Oh, no, it's I don't know what voice she is anymore. But doctor, she's got a different voice every line. That's my new. I've decided that's the bit. But stop because he had already
Fuck
walked
that.
away. We cut to
Yeah.
West filling a syringe with reagent. West holds up the syringe and admires it before saying,
Now, to test it.
"On who?" West answered by going to the freezer and taking out Ratty. We cut to the electric chair room where Laura is sitting on the chair talking to the warden. Laura says,
My story isn't working. It's too impersonal. Something's missing. And it's you. You are the key.
"The key? To what?"
To understanding how this prison works. Everything here is an extension of your philosophy. I'd like another look around. Afterwards, I'll need you for a few hours for an in-depth interview.
"I'd be happy to do the interview if..."
If?
The warden gets right up next to her and continues, "If we conduct it over dinner tonight. That way, you can get to know the man behind the office."
After my tour?
"Sergeant, please consider Miss Olney my personal guest today,
Yes, sir.
and give her the grand tour again." The warden puts his hand on Laura's shoulder as she's about to leave and says, "Why did you come back?"
To finish a profile on you.
"Oh, really?"
You're a fascinating man.
"Oh, you're just saying that. Tonight, then." Laura nods and walks away with Mancho. In the lab, West says to Howard,
Did you know the human body loses 3 to 4 grams of weight at the moment of death?
"I think I heard something about that. Yeah."
Of course, a rodent loses much less than that, but the ratio remains the same. The cerebral cortex is the site of an extraordinary neuroelectric phenomenon. Hold him. Hold him!
Howard grabs the rat.
Tightly. Ratty is not going to be very happy.
West injects the rat and continues,
This phenomenon, NPE, nanoplasmic energy, it's not just in the brain. I have found minute traces of NPE throughout the central nervous system, and I believe that it is present in every cell of the body. I would hold him a little...
West is interrupted by Ratty squealing to life. Howard re-grips Ratty. West says,
classic post-reanimation behavior. Confused, violent, just like all my other subjects to date. This brought him back from the dead. He holds the syringe before switching to the NPE fuse and continuing. But this will give him true life.
"What's that?"
West proudly explains. The nanoplasm from a living donor rat.
"Donor rat?"
West ignores the question and says, Now hold him, completely still.
He inserts the device that transfers the NPE.
This is the catalyst. This is the force that tells the cells how to grow.
They transfer the NPE into Ratty, and we get a full Jimmy Neutron brain blast as we follow the energy into CGI representation of like the inside of the rat's brain or cellular structure. I'm not sure exactly what it's supposed to be, but it really reminds me of Jimmy Neutron.
Yes.
And also when we come out,
inspiring.
his eyes turn from red to the normal black. Ooh.
Scary wet
Yeah.
eyes.
West says.
It works.
We cut to the hall where Laura walks past Howard and West. Howard says, "Laura?
Oh, Dr. Phillips, how are you?
What are you doing here?" Laura looks over at West before saying.
Just going for it.
She heads back to the door with Mancho. Howard says, "That's the way to the hole." West gives him a dirty look and says,
It certainly is.
We cut to Laura and Mancho right outside the solitary room Moses is in. Laura says,
I'd really like to talk to him.
No, not a chance.
My editor gives us an expense account for stories.
How much are we talking here?
She hands him at least $200.
Mancho says, the cell door has to be locked at all times. I'll be back for you in 10 minutes. Or asks,
And what if I need you? Do I call?
not a sound. No one can know you're in there. He can't hurt you. Not in that straitjacket.
We cut to the yard. Winnie tells Cabrera. That's you.
Oh, I'm Winnie.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who Winnie is.
You haven't done Winnie yet.
Oh, okay.
He only has like 2 or 3 lines, so.
Hey, look who's coming.
Cabrera sets up from the bench press. Him and Winnie are joined by Speedball. Howard and West come out into the yard. Howard says, "She's gonna see Moses." Howard and West, West ignores him. Yeah.
And says, all right, give him to me.
Howard passes West the rat. Inmates get in between Howard and West. West walks up to Cabrera, who's been passed a knife. Cabrera asks, "Any last words, estupido?" West hands him Ratty, and Cabrera is happy and lets West walk away. What happened?
I gave him his pet back.
Him and Howard leave. Speedball asks Cabrera, "Are you gonna let him go just like that?" "Oh, give Daddy a kiss, Ratty's eyes glow red, and Cabrera asks, "What's wrong, Ratty?" Back to the hole. Laura says,
Hi, I'm Laura Olney. I'm a journalist. I want to talk to you about what happened the other day, okay?
She starts her recorder and moves closer to Moses.
Do you remember what Dr. West did to you? Did you die from that heart attack? Can I check your pulse?
She puts her hand on Moses' shoulder, and for the first time since she's been in there, he turns to her. Moses says,
Mother of God, forgive me!
What happened to you?
Hungry! Ah, ah, ah!
He starts to walk towards her. Laura calls out.
Sergeant Moncho?
She hears the door open and says,
Thank God you're here.
but she stops when she turns around and is met with the warden. "You must think I'm an idiot."
No, I don't. Really. You're a very intelligent man.
Fascinating. He slaps Moses when he walks too close. The warden continues, "I don't like when people lie to me."
I wasn't lying.
"Explain." Moses lurches at the warden and bites off his ear. The warden beats him brutally with his cane and takes his ear back, leaving him lying in a pool of his blood. The warden says, "He attacked me."
He's dead.
"You're right, of course." As he searches Moses' body for something, Laura asks,
What are you doing?
"I murdered him." "That's what they'll say. You know what these cretins are like out there."
It was self-defense. You had no choice. I'll swear to it.
The warden gets super creepy and has her bark like a dog before trying to assault her. She pushes him away, and before he can assault her, he grabs her and starts to choke her. We cut to the lab.
And West says,
Yeah.
I want to get Moses up here.
"Why?"
To put this in him.
He shows him another NP fuse. You've got more of that stuff?"
No, this is Ratty's NPE. I gave Ratty the nanoplasm of a different rodent.
"But aren't the two animals different? Like,
Absolutely
we're humans,
not.
and they're rats. Like, those aren't the same, right? Am I right?"
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
Nanoplasm is a completely neutral energy. It's the same. Rats, dogs, human beings.
Hang on. You want to put this into Moses?
Yes.
Look, going from rat to rat is okay. But transitioning from species to species, it's not right.
Transferring, even.
What did I say?
transitioning.
I'm not into trans species. I don't think it's okay. I'm sorry. I don't think a human can become a rat until the end
that's
of the
fair.
movie.
Yeah, when a human becomes a rat man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
West says.
What says? Not right. All of this is the result of years and years of painstaking research under incomprehensible conditions. How dare you say my work is wrong?
You can't just go and transfer the soul.
The soul? This is science, Doctor, not superstition.
This is human beings we're talking about.
Was a human being, and it will be again with this.
I also just want to point out that they, for some reason, chose earlier to have a line where Howard didn't believe in souls.
In souls? Yeah.
Yeah, like that line wasn't necessary.
No. Just like the whole, picture on the back of the eye thing.
Yeah. But at least that's like just them bringing something out that they don't
like
go
a fun
back
fact.
to. This is them going, hey, remember when he
Here's
said
something
that?
exactly opposite of what
he was a child, now an adult, so maybe he's, changed his
as an
thought.
adult,
Yeah.
he's regressed on his scientific opinion.
He's found the Lord. And good for him. West interjects. Wait, no, you already said that. Macho calls out from the infirmary.
Getting there.
Doctor?
Dr. Phillips! Dr. Phillips!
Wes and Howard leave the lab and head to the infirmary. Macho says.
There's been an incident.
Howard lifts the cloth on the body on the table to reveal a dead Laura. He says, "No! No!" Macho says,
Moses killed her down in the hole. He's dead too. What's that? Dead? The warden needs death certificates. Now.
Macho and another guard leave. West whispers to Howard,
Get rid of the nurse.
I almost forgot his voice. "Nurse, help the officers." "But I'm not supposed to!" "No!" So Nurse Vanessa leaves in a huff. West tries to hand Howard a syringe of reagent. Howard asks, "What if she turns out like Moses?"
She's not getting any fresher. Come on.
Howard takes the syringe and asks, "Top of the spinal cord, right?"
Right.
Howard injects Laura. West hands Howard another syringe. Howard says, "Thorazine?"
We don't want her getting too excited.
Before he gets a chance to inject her, Laura starts convulsing back to life. West helps hold her down and straps her into place. Howard is now able to inject her.
Do you hear me? What is your name? Do you know what happened?
"Leave her alone!" Howard starts to unstrap her. So West says,
yes. That is not a very good idea.
She sits up and holds her throat. "What is she doing?" She then gets on all fours and barks like a dog. "We can't leave her like this."
Let's get her to the lab.
We see a quick shot of the alarm going off in the yard, so the inmates are being ushered back inside. We then cut to Mancho, Rando Guard, and Nurse Vanessa walking up to the hole.
Macho says, All right, stop here.
They open the door and see no Moses. So Mancho says,
Where the hell did he go?
still your line.
Oh, yeah. He's gotta be here somewhere. Look everywhere. Everywhere.
We cut to all the inmates being locked in their cells. Cabrera says, talking to Ratty, says, "Poor little thing. Come on, go get your food. Go. Sniff it to a Slim Jim, yeah."
Slim Jim sounds pretty good.
Ratty heads over to the food before being picked up by Moses, who puts Ratty in his mouth to eat him. "Hey! Let go, you freak!" Macho, hearing the commotion, comes to their cell. and sees Moses with a rat in his mouth and Cabrera trying to get at him.
What is going on?
Give it back, you freak! Mancho unlocks their cell door. Moses spits out the rat over Cabrera's head, and it lands on Mancho's face and bites his nose before crawling into his clothes. Mancho tries to hit Ratty with his nightstick. Cabrera runs and tackles him, yelling, "No!" We cut to the lab, where West asks,
Why not?
"Because it's cross-species."
Then she'll stay like this. Is that what you want?
We cut to the warden arriving in the infirmary. We hear through the walls Howard say, "No, I will not have you experimenting on her."
Now look, Ratty NPE.
I think it's just Rat. And I accidentally, he auto-corrected to Ray. But, yeah. The warden calls out, "Dr. Phillip, I'm really evil now."
You shot way deep on that one.
Yeah. Dr. Phillips.
Get her down.
Howard hides Laura. The warden comes in and asks, "Where's the body?" She... What the hell is going on in here? Mr. West and I, You've set up a lab in here. You've been doing illegal research. You'll lose your job for this. And your medical license. West stands in front of the science equipment. The warden says, "Move." West then immediately backs down out of the way. The warden picks up a syringe of reagent and says, "This is what you gave Moses?" West takes it from him. In response, the warden slaps West, and West stumbles across the room. The warden grabs West by the collar and says, "You are never going to see the outside of these walls again." Laura whimpers. Whimper, please. So the warden lets go of West and turns to notice her. She grabs at her neck, saying,
No.
"You're dead." West knocks out the warden with a microscope. We hard cut to Moses, knocking out Mancho with the nightstick, and then beating him to the ground on the ground. Cabrera reacts by saying, "Holy poop!" A random inmate yells, "He's got the keys! Come on, way to go!"
Just like that.
Cabrera grabs the keys and, thanks to a block by Moses, he yells out, "It's party time!" He then unlocks and flips the switch that unlocks all the cells, freeing the prisoners. A riot begins to break out. Moses throws a guard over the railing to the floor. We cut back to the lab. West and Howard put the unconscious warden on the table. Howard starts to check on him, and West starts gathering supplies. "What are you doing?"
Just a second. 2,000 volts of electric current will concentrate the nanoplasm to the brain, so we can collect it.
"You're gonna electrocute him?"
That's the idea. Only through electrocution can you drive the nanoplasm to the hypothalamus, where you can extract it at the moment of death. Yes.
Hang on. You want to put his nanoplasm into Laura?
Rodent to rodent, you had no problem. Human to human, you do. He's gonna be dead in a few moments. You want her to stay like that? Sit him up. Put his head down on his chest. Come on.
Howard immediately does what West told him to. West comes back with the extraction device and the NPE fuse. West says,
All right. Hold his head still.
The warden starts to move, and Howard says, "He's not dying! He's not dying!"
Get clear. Clear.
West plugs in the cords and starts to electrocute the warden. The fuse starts filling with NPE. Howard says, "That's enough! Stop it!"
He has to die.
The warden dies, and the fuse fills. We cut back to the prisoners overrunning the guards. Speedball tells Winnie, "Let's go to the infirmary. Come on, let's go. Cabrera looks down and sees a rat and says, Ready! Ready! Hey, baby, give Daddy a kiss. Ratty bites his tongue. Cabrera yells out, West! Back at the lab, they put the NP in Laura. Laura comes to and asks,
Howard, where am I?
You're okay now.
Something happened to me.
West.
And then Wes says, You could say that. Laura asked.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Warden Brando strangled you. You were technically dead for a quarter of an hour. Dr. Phillips and I brought you back.
What are you talking about? Brought me back. I feel so...
What? How do you feel?
She starts convulsing and sounds like she's choking.
You're welcome, everyone. That's interesting.
What's happening? She stops convulsing, and the music gets sinister. When she goes to talk, you can hear the echo of a second voice in the back of it. I thought about having me and Chris both say this, but we're just gonna stick with Chris doing his normal her voice and not do it. And I'll bring it up in the script when it's evil Laura.
I'll do evil Laura voice.
Oh, okay, you got evil Laura
And
voice.
it's going to kill my throat.
Fun.
I see what's going on here. You are using me as a guinea pig, and you let him do it.
No!
Stay away from me, both of you.
She leaves the lab, and in the infirmary, she freaks out again, and Laura retakes control. Laura says,
Howard, please. Please help me. Howard.
An alarm goes off, and West leaves to investigate. West enters the hall where Cabrera is calling out, West! Where are you, Einstein? Hiding is not gonna do. He stops mid-sentence when he sees West. Cabrera grabs West by the shoulders and says, Listen, Reddy's acting really weird. Either you obscenity him up, or maybe you gave me the wrong rat.
Get your hands off of me.
Oh, jeez, why did I choose Macho Man voice? I mean, Cabrera's voice.
Yeah. Howard runs up and yells.
Oh yeah, Howard runs up. I'll get there. Guards? Ha! What guards? There ain't no obscenity in guards. This place is a riot. He sees Laura and whistles, and turns toward her, saying, Look what we got here. Howard tries to get in Cabrera's way and says, Leave her alone. Cabrera shoves Howard up to the wall and says, What did you say? It's amigo?
Wes says, Stay away from her. She's sick. Contagious.
Cabrera's friend, credited as Big Dude, enters the hall and takes over holding Howard. Big Dude is played by Cesar Nabrita, who is an animal wrangler in this movie for the rats, and was a wrangler in the movie Rottweiler.
Nice.
Yeah. Cabrera says, Sick. Well, I got some good medicine for her. Make her feel better. West took my little ratty, so I'm gonna take his little pussycat.
What's happening? Howard?
The warden takes over Laura, and she punches Cabrera off. West runs over to try and help get Big Dude off Howard. Cabrera says, You like it rough, huh? And he chases after her. Big Dude fights off both West and Howard, and follows Cabrera and Laura.
And West yells, Go!
Howard runs after them. West looks back at the infirmary. We follow Howard into the main part of the prison. Some guards call out, Come on, man! Over here!
We were both,
Come
you know,
on!
we were some guards.
Yeah, we're guards, okay. There are 2 guards here, so you will have to switch off, Howard joins them in the main part of the prison. Oh, wait, no, I already read that. He joins them as they close the door, and he asks, "Where is she?" "Who?" "Laura Olney, the journalist. She was just in front of me. They were chasing her."
And another guard says, "There hasn't been no woman."
"She must still be in there. Seal it off!" So they close the big security door. We cut to Laura, who's now in the death house, which is partially on fire, and she's scared by a dead guard's body she walks into. We cut to the lab, where West is packing all the reagent into a bag. When he sees the NP fuse, he gets an idea. An awful idea. A wonderfully awful idea. And there, we've done it. That's all the Re-Animator franchise, and I did it. Never won. We cut back to Laura, who's hiding from Cabrera and Big Dude. Cabrera and Big Dude enter the death house. Cabrera says, "This way, man." You be Big Dude.
Okay. Poop. I don't see her.
Cabrera starts whistling. "Hey, Mamacita, don't you be playing hide and seek with me." Laura is able to slip away a bit before Cabrera finds her in this movie's one and only jump scare. Cabrera, Big Dude, and a random inmate back her into a cell. But then her hand gets all twitchy, implying that the warden is controlling her, or at least the hand, and it goozles Cabrera before we cut to a quick shot of the prison in chaos. We then cut to West, who's just finished reanimating the warden. We are now in Warden POV. West says,
"Welcome back, Warden. Before I leave, I want to conduct one last experiment, and you are the perfect subject. Those 3 years in solitary were very instructive. I did my best work in there, and this is the result."
He holds up the NPE fuse and says,
"Rodent. Human. Is it the neutral energy? Behavioral imprinting? Let's find out."
We cut to another shot of the rioting before we cut outside to the police and the SWAT team driving up. Back to Warden POV, where West is transferring the NPE into the warden. The warden says, "West." Nope. I wanted to change the voice, but I didn't like that because he's rat warden. I can't have a different voice if I want. I just gotta figure out a good one.
He is going to be a rat warden.
So I gotta think of a ratty voice. West. Yeah, that's it. He's a rat now.
Cool.
Yep. Where's the actual line though?
West, you cretin.
"West, you cretin. You'll fry for this."
Do you hear that? There's a riot going on up there. The animals are running the zoo. They'll make their way down here quite soon, I think.
He goes and grabs his bag and then continues.
I'd like to stick around for the results, but I can't. You see, there's a new early release program, just today, and I qualify. I'll just leave this door wide open, so they find you.
West leaves the warden tied up. Back to outside, and the cops and the SWAT team fully arrive. The SWAT team run up to the building. The SWAT officers are played by Ignacy Vidal, Miguel Angel Ripu, and Adon Rodriguez. There's also a SWAT elite who is played by an uncredited Alex Ravon, who was also, weirdly enough, uncredited in Saw 5, Mimic 3, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and The Devil's Rejects. So he just is really big on being uncredited in horror movies, apparently.
Yeah, does seem that way.
Yeah. Quick cut to Speedball and Winnie breaking into the infirmary. Speedball starts handing Winnie bottles of pills, saying, "Take these, will you? And these."
Come on.
We cut to the SWAT team entering the prison. Howard sneaks back in with the SWAT team. We cut to Warden POV as he's broken out of the ties and he's walking up on West, who's stopped in the infirmary to look for something. The warden knocks West out with some cane shots and steals his bag with the reagent. We cut to Winnie and Speedball stealing the medicine. One of the bottles falls and rolls to the feet of the warden, and we see the warden's face is more rat-like now. Winnie says,
Poop.
Winnie should have said poo. That would have been funnier. Can we try that again? Winnie says,
Poo.
thank you. Speedball says, it's the warden. Winnie says.
He's not the warden anymore.
Winnie stands up and raises the nightstick in the air. The warden says, you don't dare. He hits Winnie with his cane and continues, I'm always the warden. Winnie runs off. Macho stumbles in and says,
I need a doctor.
the warden says, Sergeant, you let the man go. Sergeant, Macho, straighten up. Speedball watches on, munching on pills like they're candy. The warden beats down Mancho with his cane, saying, on your feet, Sergeant. Stand up. That's an order. Mancho doesn't respond because it seems like the warden has killed him. The warden asks, what do I have to do to get you to follow orders? And then he injects Mancho with the reagent. Speedball sees the reagent and says, the good stuff. We cut to Laura, waking up covered in blood and surrounded by the dead bodies of all her would-be attackers. We cut back to Howard, who has a guard fall to the floor right in front of him. He calls out, Laura! Laura! Back to Laura, who doesn't seem to be in control of her hand.
No.
Ooh, it's like all like doing weird finger
It's
things.
idle hands.
Yeah, this is idle hands. Now we cut to West coming to and noticing that his bag is gone. Back to Laura, who's joined by the warden, who asks, are these men giving you a problem?
I didn't do that.
Well then, maybe I did. Speedball sneaks up and takes 2 syringes of reagent. Or maybe they went and killed themselves. They couldn't stand living with their crimes. They couldn't stand. He picks up one of their arms and continues, looking in the mirror one more day. Me? I like what I see in the mirror. The death house was built for only one purpose. Punishment. But the problem with execution is it happens too fast. One moment of pain and bam, you're dead. You're a thug. Him and Laura have walked by people who've been hung. We see shots of Speedball preparing to shoot up reagent. The warden continues, today's criminals aren't scared anymore.
He looks scared to me.
The warden replies, just acting. We're all actors here. We're in a movie. Don't you know that? Your name's not actually Laura.
No, my name is Laura in the movie.
Oh. I'm a rat. Execution is the kindest thing we could do to them. But what if the agony of death didn't end in an instant, but instead was prolonged indefinitely? He looks at one of the hung inmates while holding a syringe of reagent. We see Speedball inject himself with reagent. He proceeds to start convulsing and laughing from the high and drops the second syringe of reagent. He struggles to try and pick it up and shoot up again as he's convulsing uncontrollably. Quick shot of the SWAT team. Now we cut to Nurse Vanessa, sneaking around as she runs into Moses, who, as she tries to back away, rips open her dress and bra, revealing her breasts. She yells, no, 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 no. She says no 10 times. As he corners her up to a wall, he falls down to his knees with his face in her bosom and says,
Mother of God, forgive me for I have sinned.
Vanessa replies nervously while rubbing his head like a child. It's all right. I forgive you. It's all right. Moses then looks over at her nipple and starts biting it. We cut to Howard, looking for Laura. He runs into West, who asks,
Lose something?
She changed. You were wrong. She changed.
It was a theory.
Howard grabs him by the collar, screaming, oh, God! I hate you! You and your sick experiments! What was I thinking? Laura was right. You killed my sister.
That was an unfortunate incident.
Emily was not an incident!
There's nothing we can do now to do about your sister now, but we may still be able to save your girlfriend.
Laura! Her name is Laura!
Did you try the death house?
What?
Did you look for her in the death house? If the warden found her, that's probably where he took her.
The warden? But he's dead. West looks away as to say, not anymore, non-verbally. Howard yells, "Gosh dang you!"
Religion has nothing to do with this.
How did you know I worship Gosh?
Yeah.
We cut to SWAT entering the room Vanessa and Moses are in. Vanessa runs over, and Moses says,
Moses says, "Thank you,
Nope.
God."
not yet. Line before that.
Oh,
I see the light.
I see the light. I am saved. Thank you, God. I am saved.
One of the officers says, "Okay, hold your fire." He walks up to Moses, who's kneeling, saying,
Thank you, God. I'm hungry.
and he bites the officer's neck vampire style and is shot to death by the rest of the SWAT team. We cut to West and Howard entering the death house and seeing the reanimated corpses who are hung so they suffer. We then cut to the electric chair room where Laura is backing away from the warden, who says, "Great, it's great. What you did back there." He then gets creepy and forces her to go on her knees, with some gross implications. Laura, in double voice, says,
Sergeant, go stand guard.
Mancho leaves and Laura starts to give the warden what he wants, but instead bites off his penis and spits it across the room. Howard hears the warden scream and asks, "What was that?" Back to the warden, who says, "You bad woman." Ratty scurries towards the detached member. The warden has Laura backed up to into the electric chair, but she screams and he cowers in fear. Howard hears her and runs to her after grabbing a knife from the floor. West doesn't follow because he hears the noise of someone giggling. Then he runs into a rope and looks up to see the reanimated top half of Cabrera. Cabrera yells, "Your butt is mine!" And he drops down on him. West is able to fight him off, and using the noose as an advantage, he punches Cabrera out. We see Speedball still struggling to try and shoot up the second syringe. What?
I'm just now realizing Cabrera is kind of just still Cabrera even after being reanimated, and we know for a fact that the warden didn't have any NPE.
Yeah.
So he should just be like a mindless, violent thing.
Yeah.
Just now realizing that was a plot hole. Huh.
Maybe, even though he was completely cut in half, somehow he wasn't actually dead, so the reagent just helped keep him alive.
No.
I think that one. Yeah, no. It's not a plot hole. This movie doesn't have any plot holes. I mean, honestly, really, like, there are flaws with this movie. They're not, like, plot holes besides that one. Yeah, alright. Every movie has a plot hole. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
I just realized it.
Yeah, no, you're right. So he punches Cabrera out. We see Speedball still struggling to try and shoot up the second syringe. West, standing on a desk, is hanging Cabrera. He then starts swinging him around as Cabrera yells, "No! Let me go!" Ow. West flings him across the room. A fun fact about that, apparently when West showed, or, Jeffrey Combs showed up to set, the body they wanted him to throw was like 120 pounds, and he's like, "I can't."
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. We cut to Howard going up to Laura, but she's got crazy eyes, implying the warden is in control. But he's not, so she then grabs his face and says,
It's in me. It's taking over. You have to get it out.
"I can't."
Please. Don't let it go on. You have to kill it.
She then pulsates and is taken back over by the warden. In double voice, she says,
Kill me?
She stands up and takes off her white shirt to reveal her black bra and corset because she's bad now.
Yeah.
She picks up the cane and hits the rat warden in the head. Ratty is still messing with the phallus. Laura says,
Fascinating. It was just a piece of butt for you.
No, never. She knocks him to the ground with a cane shot. We cut to Speedball, just about to shoot up, and West grabs his hand.
What says? This is mine.
You obscenity-er. You've been holding out on me, man. You can't keep this. He takes the syringe back. This is awesome. This green poop rocks, man.
Give it to me.
Sorry, I can't do it. Prison rules. We can't share needles. It's not safe. And now, you obscenity off. I'm gonna use this.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Fortunately, right now, Nino Sin Padre, you are not me. And he injects the needle into his arm. He starts convulsing, and West watches on. Speedball's face pulsates and then falls off, and his eye pops out, and then his guts explode out of his stomach. It's pretty fun. West starts to leave, and he picks up Speedball's moving eye on the ground. Skeleton Speedball walks up to the cage and says, Hey, hi man, got any more? Just another hit.
I'd say you've had enough.
Please? How about some Vicodin? The little red pills? Aspirin? We cut back to the electric chair room. Howard tackles Laura to the ground. The warden is walking around real weirdly in the background because he's a rat now.
Yeah.
Howard yells.
Rat man.
Yeah. Howard yells, Stop! I think this
And
is
Laura
Laura
says,
voice, yeah.
Howard,
Laura?
Howard, please.
He kisses her while the warden scurries off with his cane. We cut to Ratty in the wall with the pecker. Back to West, who sneaks past Cabrera's noose, only to realize Cabrera's gone. Back to Laura, controlled by the warden again, flipping Howard over, and now on top of him, punching him repeatedly. West heads towards the electric chair room, while being followed by Cabrera. West enters the room and sees the rat warden and says,
Warden Brando, is that you?
He then laughs at him. And when the warden tries to hit him with his cane, he blocks it. Laura stands up and is about to crush Howard's head with her heel, but he pushes her off and back onto the ground. West asks the warden.
What? Where is it?
What?
You know very well what. Where's my work?
The warden glances over it. Howard and Laura both get to their feet and circle each other. Cabrera somehow flies across the room toward West.
Yeah. Somehow is the right word.
It makes no sense. But West bats him away with the cane. Cut to Laura hitting a roundhouse kick on Howard and then following up with multiple punt-style kicks while he's on the ground. Back to West, absolutely obliterating Cabrera with some more cane shots. West says,
That's quite enough of you, amigo.
Cabrera points and says, Ready! The warden scurries over and tries to grab West's leg, but West fights him off and backs him into the electric chair and says,
This experiment is over.
Laura does a flipping contortionist-style crab walk before choking Howard out with her legs. She then transitions into full mount and starts to strangle him. Laura
Please,
says,
Howard. Please stop me.
West then straps the warden in, and the warden says, You'll be punished for this.
I'd say you're the one being punished.
Laura says.
Kill me, Howard. Kill me.
Howard grabs the knife he dropped and starts to slit her throat repeatedly, raining her blood down on his face. Laura in double voice says,
Go for it, Howie.
The warden says, But I'm the warden.
Guilty as charged.
and he electrocutes the warden, killing him. Quick shot of Ratty with the dingus. Then a shot of the SWAT team. Back to West, who grabs his bag and walks over to Howard, who's cradling Laura's head. West says,
Howard?
I had to kill... That's the wrong voice. I had to kill her to get it out, to save her, but I want her back. It's going to be all right, Emily. I'll take care of you. West... Oh, sorry, no.
West takes
Howard's key card. And we cut to the SWAT team entering the room. An officer says, "This will be you."
Hold it right there. Oh, you okay?
And Howard goes, "Mancho?
Not quite.
She's all right now. I gave her life." We cut to West outside, pushing a body to a gurney. A SWAT officer says, "Halt!"
This man is critical. I need to get him to Miskatonic General right away.
"Who are you?"
Dr. Phillips. Dr. Howard Phillips. I run the prison infirmary. Who are you? I want to know who's responsible if this man dies.
"Okay, go!" He lets West pass. West passes Mancho as well, who says,
Nubius.
Back to Howard, and the officer takes Laura's head out of Howard's lap. Howard says, Hey!
Like him.
Howard is grabbed by two officers, and Howard says, "Hey, I saved her! Tell him, Emily! Tell him! I saved you to..." Laura's head opens her eyes, and Howard says, "Emily? Laura?" She laughs, and he repeats, "Emily? Laura?" And he joins her in laughing. We cut it back outside to West, puts on his glasses, and looks at Speedball's eyeball before tossing it into the grass. West, now a free man, walks away into the night. And we go to our credits, that include a mid-credit scene of Ratty having a fight in the shadows with the warden's wiener. Do you like how I use a different word for penis every time?
Yeah, that was a pretty good bit.
Yeah, I wanted to call attention to my bit because I liked it. But yeah. My thoughts on this movie are, it's not, like, good, but I had fun with it. Especially, honestly, like, a really weird thing is, I've talked about it on multiple times where, like, the second watch, a lot of times will make a movie I mildly enjoyed me not like it. This did the opposite. Actually, on a rewatch, like, taking the notes there, I actually, like, started to like the little bits here and there more and more. So, like, a rewatch helped me with this movie. And so, yeah, I enjoyed it. I think the effects are pretty fun. I think most of the acting is at least passable enough that it's fun. There are certain characters that I think do a really good job. Like, honestly, I think Laura does a really good job. I think the Warden does a really good job, especially because both of them have to play multiple characters, basically. Rat Warden is not the same as Warden, and, evil Laura, no brain Laura, and Laura, or, like, she plays 3 different Lauras.
Valid.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie. It's not, like, good. Like, I think the other 2 movies are good movies, and this one is probably not, but it's still an enjoyable movie to me, at least.
Yeah. I also enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would have, based on what we had heard about it beforehand. It is definitely in my opinion, a fun movie. Pretty much all throughout. Is it good as a movie? No. Is there parts of the movie where the acting is rough? Yes. The beginning is pretty bad. But I would say, yeah, the acting of pretty much all the main characters are pretty solid. Except for Mancho, who... Oh, well, he's not a main character.
He's not, but, like, he's not doing a great job, but he's doing it in a way that makes it fun. Like, I don't know if it's on purpose, but he ended up falling into doing a fun enough... They made that character work. Like...
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would. I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. There's our thoughts on this one. What's next? You may be asking. Well, technically, we have announced it, I think, at different points, maybe. I don't know if we have. But we're about to start a big franchise.
Yeah.
Kind of. Technically,
Sort of.
we're not starting it. Because
we already did.
Yeah, that's right. Because starting next week and for the next 12 weeks, a 12-week arc. I'm looking forward to it. There are some movies I really like in there and some movies I don't. So yeah, we will be watching the Halloween franchise starting next week with Halloween 2. So yeah, if you haven't seen our episode on Halloween, you should probably go listen to that before that episode comes out.
Yeah. Because we're not watching it again.
No, I mean, I would. I just don't want to take notes on it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd use the same notes, but I could do another podcast on it. I'll watch that movie again and read the same notes again if you want us to. But we're not. But yeah, I don't know what I was saying. If you like this podcast, please give a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you use. Whether that be Spotify, Google, or Apple. Or maybe one of those random other weird ones that being on Spotify also puts us on. Did you find us there? Cool. Then we also got a YouTube, where if you want to see our pretty little faces. Especially lately, now that we're doing the teleplay. The thing I won't say it.
No.
You're not going to say it either?
Just kidding. Horror Bois Theater!
Yeah, that thing. Chris does even more, visual gags. So, the video podcast is getting more and more important to look at. But
I'm
yeah,
adding value.
Sure, yeah, totally. But if you want to see that, it's on youtube.com/@horrorboys. If you want to support us directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/horrorboys, where you can get this podcast at least a little early normally. Sometimes not. Life's hard sometimes, guys. But there are other tiers where you definitely would get rewards, and or you could just give us $1 and say, "Hey, we like you." That'd be cool. We, it would help. That would be a third of whatever movie you have to rent. So, yeah. That's it. I've been Austin, joined by Chris as always. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.